The last 24 hours has been absolutely crazy with Star Wars. With this headline, George Lucas backs Disney and Bob Iger in proxy fight. Creating magic is not for amateurs, which is what George Lucas began with this statement. Now, we already covered this, and there's so many theories. There's so much discussion about this. And what I wanted to do was offer a little bit different of a perspective, maybe. Now, real quick, George Lucas says, when I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because of my longtime admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. When Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. No one knows Disney better. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney and Bob's track record of driving long-term value. I have voted all of my shares for Disney's 12 directors and urge other shareholders to do the same. So we know this. George Lucas is the singular largest shareholder of Disney, the biggest. And his shares right now is worth more than the 4.3 billion that he sold Star Wars for. He's already made profit, even though Disney's stock price is down at the moment. Now, why would he come out and make a statement like this when we know in the past he has taken some shots at Disney, what they did with his franchise? They didn't take his story treatments. There was the whole Bob Iger, George Lucas, riffraff going on, or riff, I should say. Bob Iger talked about it in his autobiography. We know those things. He called Disney white slavers. We know those things. But you know what? Time has passed. And it makes me think back to this story. When my father was selling his gun collection, I said, Dad, why are you selling your gun collection? And my dad said, Son, I'm getting my affairs in order. And what my dad meant was, I'm not going to be here much longer. I'm trying to take care of these things so you don't have to. And my dad sold his guns and he passed away 6 months later. In my opinion, and again, let me reiterate this, in my opinion, George Lucas is doing this as well. George Lucas is making the decision that he thinks makes the most financial sense for his stock, his ownership in the company, and he's getting his affairs in order. He's not going to be around much longer. So now, is his backing or support of Disney, is that good for Star Wars? Absolutely not. But ask yourself, does it hurt it in any way? Does it really hurt it? It's already in rubble. It's already bad. So George Lucas didn't do anything to destroy Star Wars right here. George is doing what he thinks makes the most sense for him, his family, maybe his legacy, his finances. That's what this is about. One of the popular theories is that George Lucas didn't actually write the statement, that his wife wrote it, that Disney wrote it, that George Lucas was forced to write it or pressured to write it, that George Lucas's mind is no longer present. He's, in some type of near vegetative state, I guess is what they're saying. I really don't know. But here's the thing. There's no evidence to support that or back that up. So my thing is this comment right here, this quote that was released to the press yesterday, that is George Lucas's quote until George Lucas comes out and says otherwise. And he has an obligation to do so if it's not his words. Until that moment, this is George Lucas speaking. Now, you as a fan, if you can't accept that, that's perfectly fine. I'm not telling you what you have to think. I'm just telling you this is what I think is most reasonable, most logical. There's been so many theories involving Star Wars over the years that, even from the get-go, I didn't believe. First, I believed the Acolyte was happening from day one. Second, there wasn't one single time ever that I thought there was a LucasArts civil war between Jon Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy. I never thought for one moment that Kathleen Kennedy wasn't allowed on set. And as it happens, I don't believe for 1 second, not even 1% of me believes that George Lucas was forced to write this comment, that Disney wrote it, or his wife made him write it. I don't believe any of those things. Could I be wrong? Sure. I'm not saying any of these things with authority. None of us should. Thanks for being here today. We are You Are Echo Based Network. Let me know in the comments what you think. Can't wait to see it. See you guys on the next one.